This is Arts Unknown.
Our journey to explore the world through the eyes of the creatives that make it so special. A DIY arts and travel documentary following us, two curators who share a passion for art and culture. I'm Tina.
And I'm Calum. Join us as we adventure around the world to discover the cool people that are doing the coolest shit.
In the heart of East London we are, in Brick Lane.
Sunshine.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. This area specifically was just like the heart, and still is a bit like the heart of street art and graffiti and wheat pasting and people coming to leave their stickers. And you would literally come to this area just to see like which artists have popped up, who came to the city.
And it's living and it's constantly changing, and as people come, they leave, as you say, they leave something behind them, and it's evolving all the time.
There is still that kind of like, you know what, fuck it, let's just go out and paint tonight. We can paint here. It's a pretty special space.
Since the early 90s, once hip-hop culture was able to sweep its influence across the globe, street art and graffiti became a way for people to leave their mark and express themselves in their city.
Do you know street art's become popular when you get Gucci doing massive hand-painted murals?
In East London, around Shoreditch and Brick Lane, the area has become a hub for the subculture to grow and thrive.
If you're in London, East London on a Sunday, it's all about being in Brick Lane, all about being around the Truman Brewery. You've got food, you've got art, you've got crafts, you've got independent designers, independent everything, florists, all, you name it, it's here.
From small tags to large murals, you can find it all here in East London. A great place to just explore on foot and enjoy the extensive amount of outdoor artworks from local and international artists.
If you happen to be in the area, every first Thursday of the month, East London is alive as galleries and pop-up spaces are open late with a wide variety of new events and exhibitions. South London, and specifically Peckham, has always been home to a diverse and exciting community of creatives, with many originating from outside of the capital. This is due to the various art unis, studio space, and as far as London goes, more affordable housing. One of these artists is Welsh artist Billy, and his captivatingly nostalgic yet bewildering creations ranging from tattoos to canvases. We joined Billy in his studio to check out his process, what makes him tick, and life as an emerging creative making his mark on the art world.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, Calum,
Good to see you, dude. Good to see you.
You too, man.
Really like
Which is the latest piece you're working on?
This one here. This is still a work in progress. Everything else is finished. I think most of the work looks like it's unfinished all the time, kind of thing. They never look finished.
Well, how do you know when you're done?
I'm sick of it. I kind of go over and over and over painting.
Really?
Yeah,
Until the narrative starts to become clear.
Yeah, until it makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So is it like a storyboard in that sense? Like you're starting with it and then it develops and then you've got the end thing?
Yeah, I think like each painting has a different story, but it's like trying to find it. So I'm not sure how to carve it out, you know? And
So you're trying to discover it within yourself.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see how your artwork has evolved from the painting to then being on the skin.
Okay,
Because I think that's like sort of that sums it up of that whole time capsule nature perfectly.
I just started on my legs, like I've got terrible tattoos
you
all,
doing your
they're
own
all
ones?
over the place. I got like, that was the first one.
What do you mean? You're just, that's not horrible?
Well, you're just tattooing yourself?
That's how I started, yeah. I'm so stupid for it. So my dad was in uni in London, and he kind of taught foundation in St Martin's. So I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps and go to uni here, basically. And I think I haven't left because of the art scene now and like the society, like the community that I'm involved in now. So like I know a lot of artists and gallerists and stuff, and it's like nice that you've got that sense of like creative community.
Leek Street is a 300-meter-long tunnel that runs under Waterloo Station, where graffiti is essentially legal. Back in 2008, Banksy held his world-famous Cannes Festival in the tunnel, which really gave graffiti artists that blessing they needed to paint whenever they wanted. It's a great place to see artists work in peace, away from the two things graffiti artists tend to hate the most: rain and the police.
We are going to see Denzel, aka Curry Goat, textiles, fashion, super talented guy.
Hey, Denzel, it's Tina and Calum.
Hi, Ed. Come upstairs.
Wicked, thank you.
I've changed what I've done so much. It's always been social media focused. So I don't think I consider myself an artist yet, because really what I'm doing is more entertainment, I would call it.
It feels like sort of like streetwear culture and art is such a beautiful marriage, that where you can get the brand attention, you can be creative, and you get brands that support your creativity, and then there's the revenue from it all. And it feels like when art conventionally is such a load of pretentious shit and people can't find a way to get into it, this is a way of like kicking down the door and being creative, getting money, and being an artist, right?
Yeah, I think it's become a lot more democratic with the internet. Yeah. Especially like we were talking about NFTs, the whole thing is a lot more. Basically, I think if you have like a hustle mentality, or like you're willing to go against conventions, there's a lot in it that you can get your way into where you need to be. When you look at the illustration, common trends, like I don't fit into that at all. It's like, it's all very, naive style illustration, like very upper middle class, Caucasian, very like, it just has a very certain feel to it. Like it's very, children's book illustration.
Yeah, or the frustration of the art world, which is like, oh, it's not about what you do, it's about who you know.
Yeah.
And it's not about how talented you are or how hard you work. Sometimes a lot, especially in the, upper high-end art world, it's all about who you know. You ready to make some carpets, Calum?
Born ready.
It's like therapeutic because you're feeling like it's like this pretty macho, crazy gun, and then it's making something so beautiful and fluffy on the other side. It's really. Miami. Welcome to, in the famous words of Will Smith, welcome to Miami. Come on, here we go. Party in the city where the heat is on, all night on the beach till the break of dawn. We're here. Yeah, we're here.
When you think of Miami, you think of South Beach, right? This is absolutely the spot to be. Incredible architecture, amazing restaurants, great places to have cocktails, and of course, the international art fairs are here. Wow, look at this. Look at NFTs taking over the fucking world.
Here he is, the man, Bourdain. Inspiration for the show. We've got some Nigerian artists
Look
here.
at how beautiful that is.
That's crazy. That's different.
That is different.
South Africa. You know what? South Africa is a crazy art scene. The first thing I'm always looking at is who's here, right? So the most important thing.
What do you mean, like artists or people?
Demographic of the people.
Demographic.
Like the most important thing for me and what my mission is as a curator is accessibility and opening up art to the masses and having people from marginalized backgrounds experience art in the way that we all should.
So that's still like a bit of a stumbling block then for the art world and for people to engage in the art world.
Totally, because the problem is there's not enough platforms platforming black curators. Like you need black people to tell their story. You need black curators to tell stories of black people. And that's the problem. because it's the access point, because it's a bit challenging, so they don't do it. Even though African art, black art is incredibly popular and the talent is out of this world, it's still got a lot of catching up to do. As storytellers, as curators, as people who have the keys to opportunity and who are in the rooms when other people are not in the rooms. That to me is why I get out of bed.
That is the role of the curator.
Yeah.
It's not every day you get to see that, is it?
Crazy, crazy.
I think it's kind of just an exciting time for art in general, right? You know, right now there's so much energy in the city.
Well, I guess it's the whole thing of, yeah, as you say, people have been locked away. Art has evolved so much in that time as well. So it's like seeing how the digital element of art, which has become so prominent in the last 2 years, coexists with the community and the physical and the event experience, right? And I guess this is going to be the forefront of that.
As well as being known for the glitz and glamour of South Beach, Miami has cemented its place in the art world, either for Art Basel Art Week every December or for Wynwood's commitment to street and public art.
The surrounding area has become home to galleries, independent shops, and incredible art. And of course, our favourite, banging places to eat.
Day 3 Miami, tipsy, sunburned. I don't know how much art we've seen, but it's been pretty amazing, right?
It has been pretty amazing. The booths that really resonate with me, the presentation that resonates with me is when you have a gallery that really does represent the artists that they're working with, you know, and they are exclusive to them, so the booth itself feels very unique, and the gallerist is they're so behind the artists and their mission. You know, they're really about pushing the artists and profiling them to the incredible amount of collectors that we have in Miami right now. The art fair experience is a beautiful experience.
When we were meeting Billy and when we were meeting Curry Go, you know, it's like, it's nice to see what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Because the attachment for me is the creator, not so much the product. You're still being invested in the person who creates it. So why is it important a show like Arts Unknown exists?
Well, I think it's really important to kind of give the full perspective of what's going on with the contemporary art market, our generation, you know, from artist interviews in their studio, the artists that, you know, work from their living room, but they're famous on TikTok, all the way to the, you know, the art scene that we've been seeing here, high-end contemporary art scene and some of the biggest art fairs. Like, there is so much to consider when we're documenting the creative culture.
You know, because culture and art is so synonymous with what makes a city unique. And obviously we've seen that in London, we're seeing that in Miami, and you know, everywhere around the world, the artists are the ones that are kind of documenting life.
What other medium or event or industry could draw this many people other than art? Art has this ability to bring communities together regardless of race or background or knowledge. Like, the expression, it's a vehicle, but it's the expression of someone's soul and their energy. And I think that's why we're so drawn to it, because we're drawn to connecting with other people.
What excites me, or what I think is important, is what we were saying before, is like art is the vehicle for the fighting injustices and starting a conversation. I'm obviously very passionate about art and artists, but I'm more passionate about fighting the injustice of a lot of artists and what they face. I sort of fell in love with the talent that needed the love and needed the opportunity and needed it.
The beauty of street art and public art, obviously this has been said over and over again, but it is that access. Right? It's on the streets, it's in the communities, people can access it every single day. And a lot of people that might not ever walk into a gallery or into an art fair or into a museum are now exposed to talent from all over the world.
Well, it's like the ultimate disruptor, isn't it, street art? Because all of a sudden, it's not experienced in the conventional form. It's like in people's faces, it's for everyone and it's by everyone.
For me, when I stand in front of a painting, I feel so privileged to be able to have that moment with the artist's energy, and there is this beautiful authenticity that comes with that energy.
The best piece of art is when it's most authentic to the artist.
Cape Town, a city that is both heartbreaking and heartwarming. But as far as the creative community goes, it doesn't get any more talented. Whether it's those painting on the streets or those pushing new frontiers of crypto art, the artists here are fighting against all odds to have their voice heard.
What got you into painting?
It's great. Hip hop, man. Hip hop got me,
That's
got me
always
into
the
painting.
answer.
Yeah, hip hop got me into painting, man. I got, painting trains, painting graphs, and shout outs to the ones that came before us that, that made us able to be here, the TVAs of the world, that's the crew. That's Falco, Mac One. So it's watching those, people
the old school
doing it,
writers
old school writers, and then
yeah.
I kind of got an interest in it. I was very deep into hip hop, and then I always doodled and sketched and drew. So I thought, let me get into it. So got into it with a couple of people and started a crew. It's easier here for the white kids to do trains because they live in those areas. So if you see a white kid walking in his area that they live in, nobody asks them questions. But if you see a black kid walking in an area where there's no black people who live, we were constantly like, hey, what are you doing here?
Of course,
Cops and stuff before we even get to the train. We're suspected for other things and shit. One day I saw these black kids. They were arguing over a piece. And the argument was it couldn't have been a black guy because it's good.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that blew my fucking mind. I was like, shit, nah, man, I gotta be seen doing this so that black kids can believe they can do it. And not only do it, but be good at it. So that began my process of doing graffiti legally. Almost slash street art or whatever it became.
So you describe yourself as a mural artist. So you kind of not too keen on painting small after painting silos?
It's such a different experience to paint a canvas. I kind of struggle to switch over from being outside and all the fun things of painting outside and then just sitting in the studio and working on a canvas, which also takes a lot longer than painting a wall. So I just feel like it's not as fun as painting outside and getting super tired because I'm physically drained. But yeah, that's just how I feel. Sometimes I do canvases, but it's not my preferred medium. When I'm painting outside, I'm very conscious of the general public and how they will interact with the artwork and how it lives in their space. And those people that interact with it on the street level are not going to go to the gallery. My goals is always to paint big walls. And that I'm always been pushing for that. So when the opportunity comes, I wanted to make sure I'm ready. It is scary. I'm not saying I don't get scared. I'm terrified. I'm literally, I'm so scared going up there. I'm freaked out, but at the same time, I'm so excited. I'm doing what I want to do.
You're hyped. It's adrenaline. You're rushing.
That part of me, the voice inside of my head that's just no, just do your thing. There's a certain feeling I need to have when I'm creating my work, and it is that feeling that it is I only feel okay about what I'm painting if it's giving me that feeling yes, this is me. Because I always feel like what I need to put that in, that authentic side, that's the 100% that I need to put into the work, and like whoever is interacting with it, they're gonna resonate with that. My parents, they were activists, both of them.
Okay.
So basically they got involved in the struggle against apartheid when they were teenagers. And through joining the struggle, they got access to learning different ways of thinking. So they were studying like philosophers and things as part of like educating themselves and empowering themselves to be able to fight against the government. They kind of like raised us with all these values of like how to respect other people and not discriminate, and also how to value ourselves as women. He taught us to, that we could be what we wanted to be because they couldn't choose, really. There weren't a lot of choices. So when South Africa became a democracy, my generation, we were like thrown into like, okay, you're the future. You can be whatever you want to be. So for me to become an artist in my family is weird. Nobody else is an artist in my family. And my grandparents, my family, they still kind of like, oh, what is she doing? We don't really
So I think my main focus is just getting shape and form there and knowing where the lighting is, and then like things like that. I'm not gonna go and like nitpick and clean things up, but I think for me it's just, and this is like what 2017, 2018, so I've refined more of the shapes of my newer stuff. You'll see it, like you hardly notice it, only like when a few years pass you start seeing like, okay, got your forms a bit better and your understanding of 3D, but I just let it be loose. And I mean, even when I do my digital sketchings, I keep it loose as well.
We are very multicultural or very diverse in our different cultures. So those different cultures each bring their own thing to the party. You know, whether you're black colored, white privileged, universitied or not, it's all there. And they're all, I don't think generally the perception is not that this one trumps that one. Each has their own value. And they coexist, and that's what makes, I think, the art scene so interesting here. And then we do, for some reason, have a very healthy art scene in Cape Town. This small little place at the foot of Table Mountain has a very different, I think, image from the buyers that I have abroad than what it really is. You know, they don't visualize a small little space like this the southern tip of Africa when they look at the art, but that's the opportunity. So it's amazing.
what's so important about this little series is really, like, when you think about it, how do you get to know a city? Why do people travel? The only reason people do that is to discover different cultures and communities. And what makes up a culture and community? It's the people, it's the flavors that might be native to their region. It's the art. It's the artists, it's the creatives. It could be the chefs, it could be the designers, it could be the local fashion, it's the painters. Yeah, and when you go to a city, what do? You go to the local museums, you go to the local art galleries.
Well, some people just go for a pina colada in the sunshine, but you're right, it's the best way to discover a new place is through the people that live there and what makes the city tick, and you know why people go to certain places on certain days, and you know speak a certain way, and all these kind of things. It's like, and the only way you truly do that is through, you know, hanging out with the locals. When you're traveling to a new place, you have a duty to put your hard-earned pounds or dollars or euros into the pockets of people that are, you know, are there. You don't want to be putting it into change so much. You don't want to be buying pieces of shit. You want to be investing in the experience and the people that make it special, you know? So
yeah, and the artists that are unknown really do make it special.
Yeah, they do.
have to